Welcome back, focused learners, to The Explainer. Today, we're putting a single, profoundly simple sentence right under the microscope. We're going to extract a massive amount of wisdom about how exactly we value our time, our effort, and our ultimate goals. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. I mean, we've all been there, right? You're exhausted, you're staring down the barrel of a massive project or some daunting personal goal, and suddenly, you are desperately searching for a loophole. You just want a life hack, an easy way out. But this quote right here, it's the ultimate antidote to that modern obsession. It's a universal law that directly links the temptation of the shortcut with the actual concept of genuine worth. So, let's break this down. Section 1, the 9-word philosophy. 9 words. That is literally all it takes to establish a completely airtight framework that challenges our basic assumption that faster is always better. Think about it in everyday terms. You could throw a frozen meal in the microwave for 3 minutes, or you could spend 3 hours carefully preparing a home-cooked dinner from scratch. Now, sure, the microwave is incredibly efficient, but the satisfaction, the flavor, the sheer appreciation of that meal, it doesn't even compare. That dynamic tension between the journey and the destination is perfectly captured in just these 9 words. So what exactly is a shortcut? Well, traditionally, it's defined as a route shorter than the usual one. It's an accelerated but inherently compromised path. And why do we love them so much? Biologically, we're hardwired to conserve energy. It's natural. But rushing the process almost always leads to a compromised result. Think about a tech company that pushes a highly anticipated product to market, say 6 months early, without proper beta testing. They get that quick PR win, right? But a week later, the product crashes, the stock plummets, and their reputation is completely ruined. The shortcut promises the prize without the price tag, but it's fundamentally a trap. Which brings us to Section 2, the illusion of shortcuts. Now, what's really interesting here is the contrast. Imagine you want to summit a massive, imposing mountain. You basically have 2 choices. You can spend 3 grueling days hiking to the summit. You'll battle freezing winds, your muscles will be absolutely screaming, and you'll definitely get some terrible blisters along the way. Or you can take a 5-minute helicopter ride and get dropped off right at the exact same peak. The coordinates are identical, the physical view, exactly the same. But the internal feeling, the helicopter passenger experiences an empty promise. They arrived quickly, sure, but they bypassed all the growth. The climber, however, experienced the genuine path. Those freezing winds and burning muscles, they actually transformed them into the kind of person who truly deserves that view. Because there is an unavoidable, direct correlation between the effort required and the ultimate value of the destination. You literally cannot manipulate one without manipulating the other. It's like a closed system of psychological economics. Take the well-documented phenomenon of lottery winners. They get millions of dollars instantly. I mean, that is the ultimate financial shortcut. Yet studies consistently show that many of them feel deeply unfulfilled, and a shocking number lose the whole shebang within a few years. Now, compare that to a self-made entrepreneur who spent a decade building a business from the ground up to earn that exact same wealth. The deeper the value of the destination, the higher the requisite effort. It's really that simple. Let me ask you, have you ever taken a shortcut and deeply regretted missing out on the journey? Think about that specific, kind of hollow feeling of buying a luxury item on a high-interest credit card. You get the immediate thrill of holding it, but every single time you look at it, there's this nagging anxiety because you know you couldn't actually afford it yet. Contrast that with the immense pride of putting money away in a jar for 6 straight months, watching that pile slowly grow, and then finally walking into the store to buy that exact same item in cash. Bypassing the struggle almost always leaves the end result feeling surprisingly empty. Moving on to Section 3, destinations worth the effort. And this brilliantly illustrates what characterizes a truly worthwhile destination. It demands transformation, it completely resists immediate gratification, it builds real resilience, and it cannot be easily replicated. Let's ground this a bit. Think about mastering a difficult skill, like learning to play the piano. You can't just buy a piano and suddenly consider yourself a musician. The true worth isn't owning the instrument. It's the exclusive resilience built over years of failing, stumbling over the keys, practicing scales until your fingers literally ache, and then trying again. If mastering the piano were easy, everyone would do it, and it would lose its intrinsic worth entirely. Every great achievement follows this same universal storyline. First, you choose the destination. You decide you're going to run a marathon. It's exciting. You buy the shiny new shoes. But then comes step 2, facing the temptation of the shortcut. This is the inevitable middle of the story. You are at mile 18 of a training run,
Absolutely everything hurts, and your brain is screaming at you to just walk or, just call an Uber home. Quitting looks incredibly appealing right here. But this is the defining moment. Step 3, earning the full reward, only happens when you consciously push through that temptation. The friction of mile 18 isn't stopping you from your goal. That friction is the very thing creating the value of your goal.
Let's get into our final part, section 4, embracing the long route.
Let's move to and see how this builds if we map it out on a timeline. Notice the emotional evolution here. Let's stick with our marathon runner. We start at departure, completely fueled by sheer hope and adrenaline. But eventually hope fades and we enter the steep climb, which is defined by intense struggle. And it's exactly here, right in the thick of the struggle, that the temptation hits, characterized by massive doubt. This is mile 18. This is where the shortcut presents itself as a lifeline. But if you push through that doubt, you finally reach the finish line, the arrival, defined by profound meaning. And that meaning only exists because it's the sum total of the hope, the struggle, and the conquered doubt.
The arrival itself is really just a tiny, tiny fraction of the total experience. If we slice this whole journey up into a pie, the arrival is just the crust. The vast, overwhelming majority of the experience is made up of required time, necessary effort, and overcoming doubt. So when we seek a shortcut, we're essentially trying to slice out the tiny arrival piece and just throw away the rest of the pie. Without the time, the effort, and the doubt, the arrival has absolutely no foundation to stand on. It just collapses. The value is forged in the footsteps, not just the arrival. Bypassing the path fundamentally destroys the worth of the destination. You see, the resilience you build, the patience you learn, the person you actually become while walking the long route, that is the actual prize. The destination? It's really simply the excuse you use to force yourself to take the walk in the first place. So I want to leave you with this. Where are you seeking a shortcut today, and what exact value are you risking by taking it? Are you trying to rush a career milestone? Are you trying to bypass the hard, uncomfortable conversations in a relationship? Take a hard look at the paths you're walking right now. Remember, if the place is truly worth going, the journey is going to require absolutely everything you have. And honestly, that is exactly what makes it beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Explainer. Keep learning, keep pushing, and I'll see you on the long route.